The horror genre. I want to question whether it's the future of film in terms of creative freedom. So basically, we're at a situation, we're at a stage where you either make a movie for $1 billion, like Avengers, or you make a movie for $1 million or less. But there's nothing really in the middle anymore. Coincidentally, I heard it said once that pretty soon the middle class is going to be eliminated. You're either going to be filthy rich or dirt poor. There won't be this middle class that can buy their own house. And I think that's kind of what's happening in movies. It's either going to be Disney or it's going to be low budget and nothing in the middle. And the Disney mega blockbuster things are going to be extremely artificial, no creativity whatsoever. And the low budget ones are the only ones that are going to have room for creativity. And it seems that horror movies fall into the lower category, but they actually make money. The worst horror movies still will make money consistently. And that's unique among every other genre. You can't make a drama that will make money. If it's shit, nobody will watch it. But a shit horror movie will get tons of views. That's my theory. I'm a horror binge junkie, and it's my bubblegum. I watched this movie called The Unwelcoming House, and it's basically just this fat middle-aged guy filming himself in his house using the shittiest of effects, where a chair just moves, you just cut and you move the chair and then you start again. Oh my god, that chair wasn't there before. It couldn't have been made for more than $100, and if it was, then he was ripped off. And you know what? I downloaded it because it was there, on Solar Movies, and it is available. People are watching it, and it's a piece of shit. Then there was another one called Charman, and that's exactly the same. There was nothing happens in the whole movie except that there's a couple scenes where there's a little kid outside of a window, and that's the scary factor. Then I saw one called Bad Ben, where he just has a doll on the floor. How'd this doll get here? And then he goes to another room, and how the doll moved. I gotta get rid of these spirits. So my point though is that a horror film junkie like myself, they are a very easy audience. They don't need quality. They just need to have some kind of suspense and have little shock scares. And they'll watch the whole thing. And they won't even be angry afterwards. And the Bad Ben movie was actually almost like a comedy. So I spoke to a friend who's a genius. And I was saying to her, we could make a horror movie. And it would just be a piece of shit. And everybody would go to see it. Download it, whatever. They would download it. And for an experiment, we should just make a movie in one day and make it as shit as possible. And watch how many views it gets. So this is what we've come up with. Spoilers. Doesn't really matter. This is an experiment to see if it works. To see if you get all these views just because you got a shitty fucking horror movie that is 80 minutes long. We're going to call it Pure Evil. And basically shoot it at my apartment and say, I got a friend who's an actress, so she'd be glad to do it. Okay, so this is the premise. Police officer knocks on her door, says, Madam, I don't know if you know this, but a clown factory next door to you, the clown factory burnt down. This is already funny, because what the hell's a clown factory? Anyway, so if you see any ghost clowns, please call me. Here's my card. And no matter what you do, don't play any circus music. And she goes, but that's my favorite music. Okay, so that's the opening. That's the introduction. Then she just walks around her apartment and does nothing, just like in all of these movies, Paranormal Activity. Maybe a door opens or something, right? That's all you need to do. Have a door open occasionally. Have something fall on the floor. Then, maybe at the 30-minute mark, we see a clown face in the outer window. And that's holy shit, what the hell was that? Blah, blah, blah. Then there's a knock on her door, and she opens the door, and there's a clown nose, a red clown nose on the floor. And then at the end, she's like, I can't take it. I have to play my clown music. and she puts it on. It's like, and she's like, ah, finally. And then a clown on a tricycle just comes into her room and starts chasing her around the room. And I'm going to tell my friend to play it. She has to play it straight the whole time. So it's just going to be ridiculous. And it's going to be called Pure Evil, and it's going to get 1 million views. I put it on uTorrent. Who wouldn't download a thing called Pure Evil? My main point, though, is that horror movies, this is my theory, are the last free genre where you can have free, complete control, creative control. Because the addiction people have to shock scares will allow them to watch a movie no matter how weird it is or whether it doesn't make sense yet to them. Whereas if you made a drama, people just turn it off after 5 minutes. 'Cause I don't understand this. They won't even give it the benefit of the doubt. And I'm sure I've said this in previous videos, but it bears repeating. It's amazing how similar horror movies are to each other. For example, the girl character, the main character is a female, and sometimes it's a big actress who's the main character because this is her main vehicle because they won't give her starring roles in the big movies. So this is her chance to show her acting chops and she can get the starring role. Okay, so she's a female and she sees the ghost and her husband doesn't believe her. He's like, oh, come on, there's no such thing as ghosts, honey. Don't be silly. She's like, no, but I saw it. Why won't you believe me? And he's like, well, I got to go to work. I got to go off to work on a big trip. I'll be back tomorrow. And then during his trip, that's when the ghost comes and terrifies her. And I mean, she's sympathetic, right? She's the sympathetic female character. And the male is the stupid, and everybody likes watching that. Men like watching a girl in distress, and women like seeing a girl in distress because they're in distress all the time. And then at some point, she's in the shower, right? So we can see her body. And then at some point, she gets cut, like on her leg. And she has to take her shirt off and wrap it around the wound on her leg. So now we get to see her in a bra. And come to think of it, no wonder Stephen King writes horror. Because in a way, it's the easiest to write. Because people will always want to know. There was a creepy sound outside of the room. Like, it's just the easiest way of getting the person to turn the page. And then there was a teddy bear that had a satanic pentagram on it. I mean, if you want to cater to morons, you could go the Fast and Furious route, right? Because those are like moron, tailor-made movies. Hot chicks in nice cars and guys with big muscles. But you know what? You could put all that into a horror movie anyways. And I think the horror thing draws more people. And with low budget, you can do it with this found footage thing has revolutionized horror movies and made it so that anybody can do it with nothing. And in the future when I write things, as long as I can include any kind of horror element, I think it makes it much more marketable. I think a writer needs to have a genre or a niche. And I can't speak for other people, but I absolutely love ghost movies, like a haunted house. I'll watch any movie about a haunted house, no matter how bad it is. So, you know what? When I write a book or I make a movie or whatever, I'm just have a ghost in there, and then you can just say it's a ghost movie. Or have a demon, and then all of a sudden it's a demon movie. And it could be like the most inconsequential part of the story. But just for pure marketing purposes. It's easier than putting a stupid love story in to get like a romance plot for viewers, right? Or fancy cars or hot women. I'll give a great example. I recently saw a movie called The Dark. And I thought it was a masterpiece. Obviously, it didn't do very well, because masterpieces generally don't do very well. But it's about a girl who's like a demon, like a zombie, and she is in the woods, and she finds a little boy whose eyes have been gouged out, and she actually takes care of him, and starts to learn how to love him, even though she's like a murderous zombie. And slowly, very gradually, very subtly throughout the movie, her like zombie makeup starts to wane. So she starts looking more like a human. And then at the end, this is spoilers, so too bad. At the end, you find out that she's actually just a little girl. She never was a zombie. So I was just like, basically, that's just how she saw herself. And she learned how to love by caring for someone else. Because, whatever, her family fucked her over. But because she found someone else who was vulnerable, she got to regain her soul. Anyways, I thought it was a masterpiece. But my main point is that movie, the only reason I found it was because it was marketed as a horror movie. But I would say it's the farthest thing from a horror movie. It's a drama. It should have got an Oscar. It's absolutely a drama. There's nothing scary about this movie at all. But see, you just have one horror element, and then you get in. You get into the whole fucking horror thing, and you got all the horror fans fucking downloading your shit. They just love to see zombies or demons or vampires. So just have one of your characters be a vampire, and all of a sudden you got a horror movie, and all of a sudden you've got 10 times more views, or 100 times. That's all. Have a great day, everybody. If you like gays, click like. If you like blacks, comment. If you like women, click notification bell. If you like gay women, subscribe. And if you like gay black women, Patreon, human warnings.